I'm going to show you how to learn a new language without studying and instead read your way to fluency. Because if studying keeps burning you out, the answer was never to study harder. It was to do something else altogether. After 25 years at this myself, 8 languages, thousands of students, writing a bunch of language books and making every embarrassing language mistake under the sun, I found something that works far, far better. A dead simple daily reading routine that I call the 5-1 rule. And I'll show you exactly what the numbers mean, how little time it actually takes each day, and why one short story can do more for your language learning than another hour of exhausting study. I stopped trying to build the perfect study routine that no one would ever follow, and instead started building something completely different. An anti-quitting system. Something tiny enough to survive bad weeks, busy jobs, family chaos, terrible moods, all the stuff that real life throws at you. Because getting fluent in a language is not about motivation as such, it's about still being there 6 months from now, whether you're motivated or not. And that's the whole idea behind the 5-1 rule. A dead simple routine that works as a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, you know how it goes, 1. No clock to obey, no big study marathon, no heroic willpower. The only thing you actually sign up for is 5 minutes. Everything else either piggybacks on time that you are already wasting doing something else, or lasts exactly as long as you feel like. And the best part is that it's built so that you won't want to stop, because it leaves you hanging on purpose so that you finish each day itching to come back. Now, quick thing before we dive in, this 5-1 rule, it's simple, but it only works if it's the easiest thing in your whole day, because knowing it and actually doing it are two different things. So I put the entire countdown onto a single page for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, exactly what to do, the whole lot at a glance. You can print it out, stick it on the fridge, wherever you will actually see it, because something on the wall looking at you has a funny way of getting done. That way there's no remembering, no umming and ahhing, no, hang on, what was number 3 again? You just glance at it and go. You can download this for free. There's a link in the description, or you can scan the QR code up there on your screen right now. And then just like that, you've taken away the one thing that makes people quit easily, having to think about it. So, you ready for this? Let's count down from 5. The very first step is the one that almost everyone skips, and it's exactly why they stay stuck. But it's the first thing that I do with every new language I pick up, and I've picked up a few. It takes 5 minutes, and I know, what on earth are you going to achieve in 5 minutes? Well, it's 5 minutes spent in a way that you've probably never tried. Think of it as your first encounter with today's little story. So here's exactly what you do. It is dead simple. First, you find one short text in the language that you are learning, a little scene where people are doing something, saying something, because you're about to spend 5 minutes with it. And this is the bit that matters most. It has to come, this text, with audio, the words and the sound together. That's the whole foundation. And what are we looking for? A page from a graded reader that has a recording, a short story that comes narrated. Like my books, they have, they're very short chapters, but they come with the audio recording, for example, or a beginner podcast that hands you the transcript to follow. Keep it short and easy enough that you follow most of it very comfortably. Now, in this text, you should be able to already recognize maybe 8 out of 10 words, okay? If you are stopping at every other word, it's too hard. So drop down a level, because you're not here to struggle, you're here to understand. Then comes the actual technique, and it couldn't be simpler. You press play and you read along as you listen. Your eyes follow the exact words you are hearing at the very same time. Think karaoke. Follow the bouncing ball, you know? Yeah, bouncing ball on top of the word, that's all you gotta do. And that one little move does something that very few beginners get right. It glues the sound of a word to the way it looks on the page. It allows you to make connections. The immediate bonus here is that you stop building your own private made-up pronunciation.
Mi comida favorita is pizza.
Yep, 5 minutes of seeing and hearing the scene. That's what we're talking about. Nothing else open, no second tab, no phone buzzing, no TV mumbling in the corner, just the words, the voice, and you following along. Here's the one we're going to use. It's in Spanish, a little scene where teenage Sofia is sneaking in to her house late and her mum is asking, "And where were you?" Era tarde. Sofía abrió la puerta sin hacer ruido. ¿Y tú dónde estabas?, dijo su madre sin levantar la vista. Por ahí, respondió Sofía. Mala respuesta. Something like this, right? You can read it a few times, but that's it. That's the whole text. And trust me, we're going to squeeze a ridiculous amount out of those 3 lines. And this works for any language. I'm just showing you the idea. Now, why 5 minutes and not 30? Because 5 is small enough to manage on your absolute worst day. The kids are screaming, your car broke down, you can still find 5 minutes. And the funny thing is, and this is the real point, okay, I'll just do 5 minutes has a habit of turning into 20 minutes, or 30, or 40, because it only ever turns into 20 because 5 minutes was small enough in the first place to say yes to, all right? So this is not me going easy on you and saying 5 minutes is gonna guarantee you fluency in a language. Saying 5 minutes is gonna get you started, and you will do more because you're here because you care. That's the whole point, so you will do more. And now we can count down to 4. Now this next one's gonna feel a little bit lazy, almost like you're cheating, and that, hand on heart, is the best part of the whole thing, because 4 means this. Later on in the day, you come back to that exact same little scene and you listen to it 4 more times. Not something new, the same thing. No reading, no notes, no effort at all, just let it play on a loop while you get on with your life. The same Sophia, the same 3 lines. You're not studying this, you're just letting it flood over your ears a few more times. The perfect time is those dead little gaps in your day that you already waste, which I kind of love because it starts sneaking into your real life. So you had a horrible morning at work, somebody sent that email, you fancy throwing your laptop into the sea, and then you remember, Spanish. Well, I've already done number 5. Let me just do number 4 quickly while I make some coffee. So you stick Sofia on while the coffee is brewing. Era tarde. Sofia abrió la puerta sin hacer. You know how it goes, right? Now, why does something like this work? Why does something basic work? I mean, you're literally repeating the same scene from earlier, right? I'll tell you. It's because the people who get good at a language are almost never the ones killing themselves over it. They're the ones who keep bringing it into their regular lives in all the little coffee breaks and keep coming back to the same stories that they enjoy. It's how you made your brain accept it as normal. Take me learning Italian a few years ago. There was this podcast that I got hooked on, my friend Davide's solo show, just him chatting about everyday life. And the weird part, I would happily replay the same episode again and again and again. I didn't care that I knew what was coming, I just loved the sound of it. And without me ever planning it, that became repetition. Bucket loads of it, the same words, the same phrases, round and round again, sinking in a little bit deeper every time. And one day I realized I just knew those Italian phrases and how they should sound in context. I'd never even sat down and learned them. You know, a lot of people say, I can't listen to the same thing a second or third time, it gets boring. But really, if you can frame this as a fantastic learning opportunity, if you can understand that repetition is the mother of mastery, then repeating small, contained bits of text over and over is one of the best things you can do to actually get it to sink in. All you got to do is just suspend that little voice in your head that needs novelty all the time. Repetition beats perfection every single time. And that's all the 4 is. The same story scene, 4 more times in the gaps of your day until the language starts sounding very, very familiar to you. Somewhere around that 5th time hearing Sophia's mum ask, "Where were you?" something satisfying happens. You realize the whole conversation is just kind of rattling around in your head. You didn't even try, the language just got cozy with you. But number 3 is where things really get interesting. And this one's brilliant because it's where you start naturally figuring things out on a deeper level without studying. So you go back to that same little scene, read the text, and pick 3 things that make you go, ooh, what's that all about? Little bits you don't quite understand, and you chase them down just because you're curious. You look something up in a grammar book, you check the meaning of something, you let curiosity guide you. Now the lovely thing is, even a tiny little story in whichever language you are learning will happily hand you a whole bunch of things that you're going to be curious about. Maybe one is a sound that someone makes that you're not quite sure about with the pronunciation. Maybe there's another little grammar pattern that you're not quite sure about. And the third might be, I don't know, some slang, some wonderful expression you'd never find in a textbook. Whatever catches your eye.
El perro de San Roque no tiene rabo, porque Ramón Ramírez se lo ha cortado.
Listen to that big rolled R. It's quite a sound, isn't it? But let's see what Sofia gives us here. Well, we've got words like ruido, respondió, respuesta. A lot of strong rolling R's, right? You're not rolling anything yourself yet, by the way. You're just noticing it. Okay, all of these words start with the rolled R. But then you notice something odd in the audio. You've got tarde, puerta, madre. Now it's the letter R, but now it's not rolled anymore. It's a softer, shorter R. Okay, I see what's going on. You see, you start to spot these patterns because you are listening over and over and paying attention. And once you've spotted that, you can't unspot it. You will start hearing things everywhere in songs, movies, YouTube videos, and you've just worked out a little rule of the language. This is why the concept of noticing is such a huge deal in language learning. And I would go so far as to say that the ability to notice things is one of the things that accounts for whether you're going to learn a language or not. Right? You can't be a passenger in this thing. You've got to be the one in the driving seat, noticing actively everything that's happening. You don't need to be taught this stuff. You need to notice it. And so what we're doing with this 5-1 rule here is we are creating the conditions where you can get input and exposure, and now you're able to notice things. This is the good stuff, right? You find it out all by yourself. And the more you listen to new things in the days ahead, the more you're going to catch on to, like exactly when you roll your R's or not. Second, let's spot a little pattern. With any words that cropped up twice, well, let's check. Sin hacer ruido. Then a line later, we've got sin levantar la vista. That word sin is doing the same job both times. Maybe you're not sure what it is. You look it up, it just takes a second, and it turns out that sin means without. And look, both times, there's a verb coming afterwards. We've got sin hacer ruido, without making a sound. Sin levantar la vista, without looking up. There's repetition, there's a pattern, you notice it, and now you kind of know how all this stuff works, and you didn't have to study it. You just got the pattern stuck in your head. And third, whatever else jumps out at you, frankly. When Sophia's mum asks where she's been, she says, por ahí. What does that mean exactly? So por ahí is the classic teenager's dodge. It means something like, no, just out, just around, none of your business, mum. Basically, a shrug in word form. And just like that, you know how to sound a little bit more human. And that's it. 3 little curiosities, none of them more than a couple of minutes. That's the whole magic of the 3. When you chase the things that genuinely interest you, they stick. Right, so we've done 5, 4, 3. I think you probably know what's coming next. It is 2. So that awful moment when someone speaks to you in the language you're supposed to be learning, and you kind of understand the words they say, but your brain just doesn't get the meaning of what they're saying. Right? Now, this has happened to me approximately 7 billion times. It's happened to everyone that is ever learning a language and actually trying to speak with people. And this is what the 2 fixes, because the 2 means you take 2 lines from the same story and make yourself say them out loud. But we're going to do it in 2 different ways. Make no mistake, the day is coming when you will be grateful for having practiced speaking a little bit from the start. Now, I promise you this is worth the cringe, all right? You're going to record yourself. You're going to borrow Sophia's language and put it into your own mouth. So open up the voice memo app on your phone, one of the genuinely good apps that's actually worth using. Press record and record yourself saying 1 line out loud from the text. ¿Y tú dónde estabas? Sophia's mum saying, and where were you, Sophia? Then play it straight back to yourself. Oof. It's tough, right? It's a bit cringeworthy to listen to yourself saying that thing, but listening back to yourself highlights the gaps in the pronunciation. What's the difference between the original recording and you? Yeah, I know it makes for tough listening, but it informs you about a huge amount. And remember, no one's listening here, but it is honest feedback, and it's strangely addictive as well. Better still, say it to someone who couldn't possibly judge you. The dog, the teddy bear, the cat, I don't know. If it's been one of those weeks, you look at the cat in the eyes and you say, ¿Y tú dónde estabas? Fun story, I actually have a student who started speaking to a stray cat that she saw every day, only in Italian. She reckons the cat's nicer to her because of it. Make of that what you will. And the second part here is try saying out loud 1 tiny thing about what just happened in the story. All right, this is not stuff from the story itself, it's your opinion. Nothing fancy, just 1 little sentence in the language. So, Sofia came home late. All right, then how would I say that in Spanish? Sofia llegó tarde. Or la madre estaba enojada. The mum was angry. You're not trying to have a conversation here, you're just taking whatever's happened in the story and you're trying to react to it in some way, which is, if you think about it, a very natural process. Okay, everything that we talk about generally with people, we are reacting to things, and so we want to practice the ability to read something, understand it, and then give our reaction. There's no pressure here, there's no audience that can laugh at you, even if your cat looks at you a bit funny. But this is how reading and understanding starts turning into speaking and the ability to output. Reading and listening is input, we want to deliberately practice output. That's step number 2. 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, 1. Okay, this is the bit that I was banging on about earlier, my favorite bit. And it sounds far too simple to matter, so you'll be tempted to skip it, but don't. because it's the one that decides whether you actually come back tomorrow or end up right back where you were last time. So here is what one means. Before you get up and wander off for the evening, you're going to line up the one thing that you're going to do tomorrow. What text are you going to use? The next scene of the story, the next episode of the podcast, whatever it is, open it up, cue it up, get it ready, and have it there so that you know exactly what to do tomorrow and there's no wondering how you're going to spend the time. You just sit down and you get started. What we're really talking about here is developing a real curiosity and a real interest. We're trying to move you away from this passive textbook studying where you are like opening your brain and saying, teacher, teach me, and instead you really engaging with the stuff so that every part of your brain is immersed with the language. Now, you're going to notice something funny. The countdown here, it stops at 1, right? We've gone 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why not 0? Well, that's no accident. That one thing becomes a hook, and you've set it for yourself, right? That thing you want to find out tomorrow? Because now when you sit down tomorrow, you don't say, right then, a new day of study. What amazing bit of studying should I do today? No, you've already taken care of it. You've had the negotiation the day before, and sitting down and actually getting started with no laziness or indecision is all part of intentional study. So you get rid of that the night before, decision made. So let's recap the whole process. First of all, 5 minutes of reading along to one short text. You read it and you listen to it. 4 lazy replays of that same text in the dead gaps during your day. 3 things that you chase down and look up and discover because they're interesting to you. 2 lines from the text that you're going to say out loud, so you go from input to output, and then 1 thing teed up for tomorrow so that you never have to decide again. It is that simple. So go and grab your free 5-1 rule printout from the description below. You will remember all the steps, stick it where you'll see it, and just find yourself a little story and get going. Now, there's a proper reason that reading does all of this heavy lifting. It builds fluency way faster than anything else. And this is not just my opinion, it's the actual science of how your brain soaks up a language. And that is exactly what I'm going to tell you about in this video right here. So you should go and watch it right now so you understand how all of this crazy magic works.